The sky grows darker. The wind slices through the desert sands like invisible blades. The whole world holds its breath. In the very heart of the promised land, a lone man rises.
Abraham, the chosen one, the friend of God.
His name echoes through generations. His faith defies logic. His obedience touches the heavens. But now, a call places him before the greatest trial of his life.
The sacrifice is not only of a son, it is the surrender of the future. It is the seed of an eternal promise.
Prepare yourself to walk upon the dust of the desert, to feel the weight of the wood upon Isaac's shoulders, to hear the silence of the mount before the voice that rends the heavens. This is not just a story. It is the greatest journey ever told. The desert horizon burns in silence. The sand shifts at the breath of the wind, as if creation itself sensed the weight of what is about to be revealed. The sky is painted in shades of gold and copper. The sun rises like a king over his court, and every ray that touches the dry stones seems to announce a hidden design. The world holds its breath. Something momentous approaches. In the heart of this vastness walks a man. His face is marked by time, furrowed by years of journeying, yet lit by a faith that does not fade. He is Abraham, the chosen patriarch, the one whom the Most High called to leave his land and kindred, promising him descendants as numerous as the stars shining in the firmament. He moves forward with steady steps, sustained by the memory of the divine voice that once echoed within him like a gentle thunder, a promise that shaped his entire existence. Around him, the camp awakens slowly. Tents rise like shadows of a nomadic people. Herds low and bleat at dawn. Children run through the sandy paths. Women prepare the bread that bakes upon glowing embers. Life pulses in simplicity, yet every detail carries a glimmer of eternity. For this is no ordinary people. This is the people of the promise, born from the covenant between God and the patriarch. At the center of it all, Isaac appears as the living fulfillment of the divine word. Son of old age, born when all human hope had already run dry, he is the smile of the promise, the heir who carries the weight of the heavens upon youthful shoulders. His eyes reflect innocence and vigor. His voice still rings like the melody of youth, and his light steps wander the camp, as if the earth itself rejoiced beneath his feet. But on this solemn morning, an omen lingers upon the wind. The silence between the song of birds is deeper than usual. The air carries an invisible weight. Abraham gazes at the horizon, and within his soul rises an unrestlessness he dares not name. It is as if the firmament itself bowed over him, bringing forth an inevitable summons. Then, amid the freshness of morning, the voice of the Eternal rends the veil of normality. It is no human sound, no echo of the earth, but a living word that pierces through time and space.
Abraham.
The patriarch trembles. His breath falters for a moment. His eyes lift as one seeking the invisible. "Here I am," he answers with a trembling voice, yet filled with reverence. The silence stretches, as if the entire cosmos awaited the next phrase. And it comes, heavy as a mountain, sharp as a flaming sword.
Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and offer him as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will show you.
The world falls silent. The man's heart shatters in silence. It is not merely a request. It is the clash between promise and obedience, between human love and divine faithfulness. Isaac is not merely flesh of his flesh. He is the heir of the covenant, the embodiment of the eternal word. How could the God who gives life demand the death of the one who carries the future of his lineage? Abraham gazes into the empty desert. The wind lashes against his silver beard. His eyes burn with restrained tears. The weight of the divine command rests on his shoulders like an impossible burden. Yet in the depths of his soul, faith speaks louder. The same God who called the universe from nothing, who brought forth life from Sarah's barren womb, is also mighty to fulfill his word beyond death. The scene closes on the patriarch's face. The wrinkles tremble. His mouth tightens, but his voice rises firm, almost inaudible. "Here I am, Lord. Destiny is sealed."
Night falls over the camp like a silent cloak. The stars glitter, scattered across the sky like torches lit by the hand of the Creator. Each constellation watches, motionless, the patriarch who remains awake, sitting at the entrance of his tent. The cold wind brushes against the folds of his robe, but the true chill burns within him. The divine command echoes relentlessly in his mind, repeating like thunder that does not dissipate. Abraham looks into the tent. There rests Isaac, wrapped in peace, his youthful features serene as the dawn. Sarah also sleeps, unaware of the weight that presses upon her husband. Abraham averts his gaze, his lips murmuring inaudible words, prayers rising in sighs deeper than voice can express. He does not dare awaken her, does not dare share the burden. This battle is his, and his alone, and the God who calls him. At the break of dawn, the patriarch arises with resolve. He summons 2 servants, prepares the donkey, cuts the wood for the burnt offering. His movements are slow, solemn. Each strike of the blade against the wood resounds like a hammer upon the soul. He stacks the bundles, ties them with firm ropes, and the sharp snap seems to seal his son's fate. Isaac awakens. His eyes shine with youthful freshness. He does not know the weight that hangs over the household, only the joy of walking beside his father. "Father," he says in an innocent voice, "where are we going?" Abraham breathes deeply. His gaze rests on the boy, and for a moment his heart falters, yet his voice comes firm despite the hidden pain.
we will climb the mountain to worship the Lord." The servants follow the journey. Their footsteps echo over the stones, the desert stretches in silence, and every dune seems to watch as a witness. The sun rises above their heads, blazing as if testing their endurance. Sweat drips, dust rises, but the march continues. Abraham walks ahead, and his shadow stretches long across the ground, as if destiny itself follows him. On the second day, tension grows. The servants exchange glances, not understanding the master's silence. Isaac watches his father, noting the gravity of his face, yet does not question. He carries the trust of one who grew under a man who spoke of divine promises, eternal covenants, and a God who guides and sustains. On the third day, Abraham lifts his eyes. In the distance, the mountain rises like a sentinel of heaven. His heart tightens, his lips tremble. This is the place, chosen by the voice of the Most High. He knows destiny nears. Abraham halts the company. He orders the servants to stay at the foot of the hill. His voice is grave, bearing a weight they do not dare contest. "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there. After worshiping, we will return." Isaac walks beside his father, carrying the wood for the burnt offering. The crack of the wood marks their steps like a somber rhythm. Abraham carries the fire and knife. Silence reigns, broken only by wind across the slopes. Then Isaac asks, "Father, here is the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" The words pierce Abraham's heart like a sharp blade. He breathes deeply. His answer comes laden with faith and mystery. "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." Isaac falls silent. His eyes reflect trust, but the invisible weight around the patriarch is unbearable. With each step, the mountain rises more imposing, like a giant altar where faith and obedience will be tested. The march continues. Destiny waits at the summit.
The mountain rises before them like a throne of stone, imposing, solemn, guardian of divine mystery. Each rock is a silent witness. Each breath of wind carries eternity's weight. Abraham and Isaac advance, step by step, until they reach the summit. The sun, now high, casts rays like swords of fire, lighting the scene without shadows. Nothing is hidden from the Almighty. Abraham looks around. He chooses a place. Stones are set, forming the altar. His calloused hands touch each block, arranged, secure, as if preparing not only a sacrifice, but humanity's destiny. The dry sound of stone echoes in the mountain silence, each strike resounding in the heavens. Isaac watches. His eyes hold the trust of a son who fears nothing, walking beside his father. He lays the wood on the altar, obedient, unaware his life is tied to it. Abraham rises. Fire gleams in his hand. The knife flashes under the sun. The moment nears. The patriarch's heart pounds like a war drum, each beat crying in his soul. With trembling voice he calls, "Isaac, my son." The young man approaches. Abraham breathes deeply. His hands shake, his soul breaks, yet obedience remains. He binds his son. The ropes creak in the wind. The boy's heart shudders.
His eyes meet his father's, searching for answers. Abraham looks away, for there he'd see his own pain. The altar is no longer only of stones, it is of tears, of faith, of obedience. Abraham lays Isaac on the wood. The son's body rests still, like an innocent lamb that does not protest. Silence covers the mountain. No birds fly, no leaves stir. The universe waits. Abraham raises the knife. The blade gleams, reflecting the fire of the sun. His breath quickens. Tear-filled eyes lift to heaven. In his mind, one certainty: the God who asks is the God who restores. His arm trembles, his heart breaks in pain, but faith holds. Then, as the blade descends, a voice rends the heavens, firm as thunder, gentle as breeze.
Abraham, Abraham. The patriarch holds. The knife freezes in the air. His whole body trembles. His eyes lift. His heart pounds like never before. "Here I am," he answers with a broken voice. The angel of the Lord cries out,
Do not lay your hand on the boy, and do not harm him in any way. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
The silence breaks, the weight lifts. Abraham falls to his knees, tears streaming down his face, the knife slipping from his hand. Isaac breathes, his eyes filled with life, and relief bursts like a spring in dry land. The mountain, once a tomb, becomes a stage of salvation. Abraham lifts his eyes and sees a ram caught by its horns in the thicket, the lamb of providence, the sacrifice that replaces. He runs, frees his son, takes the animal, and lays it on the altar. The fire consumes, the smoke rises to heaven like incense, and the mountain fills with reverence. There, Abraham declares, "On the mount of the Lord it shall be provided." The climax ends. Heaven bears witness. Faith prevails.
The smoke of the burnt offering rises in slow spirals, blending with the clear sky. The scent of the sacrifice fills the air, and the mountain, once a place of tension and imminent death, now beats as an altar of life and hope. Abraham and Isaac stand side by side, breathless, their tearful eyes still reflecting the weight of what they endured. Father and son look at each other. No words are needed. Both know they touch the edge of obedience. Both felt the nearness of eternity. Then the voice of the Lord resounds again, not in judgment, but in renewed promise.
By myself I have sworn, says the Lord, because you have done this and not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and greatly multiply your descendants like the stars of heaven and the sand on the seashore. Your descendants shall possess the gates of their enemies, and in your seed all nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you obeyed my voice.
Each word falls like a ray of light upon Abraham. More than promise, it is confirmation that obedience opened the way for blessing echoing through generations. The old patriarch lifts his face to heaven, and his soul, once torn, rests in solemn joy. He knows, on that mount, not only was his faith tested, but humanity's future touched by the divine hand. Isaac breathes deeply, eyes still fixed on the ram consumed by flames. His youthful heart, matured by the experience, will never forget that day. He understands he is not just heir of land or flocks, but bearer of a promise embracing heavens and nations. The mount, once stage of his death, became eternal memory of providence and life. As they descend, the servants see them from afar. Their eyes widen to find father and son returning together. They do not know what happened at the summit, yet sense something greater than human understanding fulfilled. Abraham does not explain. He only leads in silence, for certain revelations belong only to those who touched the sacred with their own hands. The news, however, cannot be contained. The altar raised, the ram provided, the divine voice, all become testimony. Each servant, each traveler, each generation hearing the story will carry the mark of the mount. Where shadow of death lingered, a lesson of faith was born. Where weight of sacrifice pressed, assurance of the Almighty's provision blossomed. The echo crosses time. Patriarchs will recall the mount. Prophets will invoke Abraham's obedience. Kings will find inspiration in the solemn act. And in distant ages, when another beloved son carries wood and climbs a mount, the human heart will recognize the shadow of the same scene. But on that day, the blade will not be stayed, and the sacrifice will find no substitute. For now, Abraham returns to camp. Sarah greets them, heart relieved to see her son alive and safe. The people gather, and even without full understanding, celebrate the patriarch's return. The air fills with songs, praises, and memories that will never fade. At nightfall, when the sky burns again with countless stars, Abraham contemplates the heavens. Each point of light shines like a promise. He smiles in silence. The God that asks is the God that provides. The God that tests is the God that sustains. The God that demands faith is the same who opens the way to eternal blessings. And on that mount, in the smoke rising like incense, faith not only survived, it became legacy.
Night settles over Abraham's tents. The desert wind drifts softly, carrying the coolness of stars that shimmer in the sky like torches lit by the Creator's hand. The camp sleeps, but the patriarch remains awake, seated before the faint glow of a fire. His eyes, reflecting the embers, gaze toward horizons beyond sand and time. Isaac rests in peace, and Sarah breathes calmly, unaware of the depth of what occurred on the mountain. Abraham, however, keeps in silence the weight and glory of his trial. His tear-marked face now rests in serenity. He knows it was not only his faith that was tested, but his entire life, his absolute trust, his complete surrender. The Lord's words still echo in his mind.
I will multiply your descendants like the stars of heaven.
He lifts his eyes, and each star seems to answer, alive, witness of the eternal covenant. Abraham feels small yet immense, for his story no longer belongs to him, but to future generations, distant peoples, nations unborn. The night's silence is broken only by the fire's crackle. The patriarch recalls the stone altar, the raised blade, the voice that stopped him, the ram provided. All remains etched in his soul as a sacred scar. He knows the mountain will be eternal memory, symbol of faith and obedience. There the Almighty wrote with fire and wind a lesson. On the mount of the Lord it will be provided. With time, the story of Abraham and Isaac will spread like fire through dry fields. Peoples will hear, prophets proclaim, kings remember. Each generation will see in the patriarch the one who dared surrender what was most precious. His faith will be a beacon in darkness, reminding that obedience to the Most High is greater than fear, greater than sacrifice. And beyond his time, when the world trembles before another mountain, the echo of this story will rise again. In the future, another beloved son will carry the wood upon his shoulders, climb a mountain of sacrifice, and no voice will stay the blade, no ram caught in the thicket. The Son himself will be the lamb. The sacrifice will not be of an earthly father, but of the eternal Father giving his only Son so all may be redeemed. Abraham does not fully know this future, but his spirit senses it. His act is a seed, shadow, prophecy. His obedience opens the path to redemption to be revealed. The mountain of sorrow becomes a herald of hope for ages. The old patriarch rises. He walks among the sleeping tents, beholds his family in silence, and his heart fills with gratitude. He is not only father of Isaac, but father of a nation, father of faith. His name will remain inscribed in men's memory and in God's heart. The night breeze drifts softly. The fire fades slowly. The stars remain, glittering as eternal witnesses. And in the sacred silence of the desert, one truth resounds like unshakable stone. Kingdoms fall, empires crumble, but the promise remains. The Lord has provided, the Lord will provide, and his kingdom shall have no end.